different.
How close do you get to the mic? Like close or like
However,
not close?
Not too far.
I get
Not
pretty.
too far.
I get pretty
'Cause
close.
You're really close.
Yeah, but I don't speak loud in general. Also,
okay,
if you
so I'll
could,
back up.
if you could lick the mic from time to time, just to make it like you gotta
Just to
keep it
make
wet.
that-
You gotta keep it a little wet so that it can hear you.
Hey guys, welcome to the Meet Cute, where we talk about all things romantic comedy, but mostly the bad ones. I'm Haley.
I'm Zach.
And I'm also Zach.
Nope.
Okay.
No. You're
Oh, Edward.
Edward.
Oh, you're Edward.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
This was take 47.
We've got a very special guest tonight. I am so excited.
You have not been introduced. Do not speak into the
So, in the Meet Cute studios, we've got my very, very good friend, Lindsay O'Donnell. Say hi, Lindsay.
Hi, Lindsay.
So, I mean, this is a special one, guys. We're in the McConaughssaince. It is here. And the reason I have my good friend Lindsay in the studio tonight is because in 2008, we saw this film together in theaters. And I, at 15 years old...
So I was 17 years old.
Yes. I knew this movie was the worst piece of trash I have ever seen. And to be that aware at 15 years old when you love rom-coms really means that this movie has to be terrible. Now, I have not watched it in 10 years.
Neither have I.
So I can only imagine it gets worse. Right?
I would hope so. And I think we did see it on like a week, because it was a summer movie. I
Okay,
think.
no,
So like
no.
or a weekend.
No,
like
it was
matinee.
a winter. It was
The
a
only
daytime.
two.
It was daytime and winter, and I
Yeah.
remember this because we saw it the day my grandfather died.
Now, did you see it in an attempt to distract yourself, or did you see it and then you came out of the theater and they were like, "No more Grandpa"?
Pray it was the second one.
No, what
Really?
happened was we had plans to see this movie.
and nothing was going to stop.
I was so pissed.
And that's exactly what happened. My grandfather died, and my mom said, "Just go anyway."
I don't remember that.
It's not like I could have
In the
done anything.
slightest.
I was 15 years old. It already happened.
No time for grieving. Time to go to the movies.
She was like, "Yeah, live your life." And so I saw the worst movie I could have ever seen.
Oof! What a good day. What a
Yeah.
good day you must have had.
It was a good day.
I guess as bad as the movie was, it wasn't the worst thing to happen to you that day. Or was it? That's on you.
Lord.
Oh, man. Did I even mention the title of this film yet?
No, why don't you do
No.
it now?
Guys.
No. Never this episode.
Guys.
They have to guess.
Lindsay, real quick.
Yes.
Do you like romantic comedies usually?
No.
Good.
Never?
Good.
You're in the right place?
Let me amend that. I like rom-coms that I know are going to be horrible. And I like watching them with certain people. So, like 50 Shades, I saw 50 Shades 3 in IMAX for a friend's birthday, drunk off of mimosas. We made a day out of it. And it was incredible. But if I were to watch it like tomorrow by myself with my roommate's two cats, I probably would be a little depressed.
In IMAX?
In IMAX.
That's so much whipping in IMAX.
Just a lot of like little bitty titty. Can I say titty? What's
Yeah.
your brand?
You have to say it. You can only say it once, and then after that, we'll keep bleeping you.
After that, every time you have to do an ad for Orville Redenbacher popcorn, it's a weird when you do podcasts.
Remembers.
Advertising,
Yeah.
am I right?
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want. Our brand is whatever your brand is tonight, which is usually quite blue.
So because it's the McConaughssaince, follow-up question. How do you feel about Matthew McConaughey?
Oh, I think he's horrific. I don't know. I don't know if I have like a solid opinion on Matthew McConaughey. I feel like any role that he's in, if he doesn't play his all right self, then it's not worth seeing. I can't quite remember if when we saw this untitled romantic comedy, if Matthew McConaughey did play himself. I would imagine that he did. This was Matthew McConaughey starring Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson's ears. So I love her adorably big ears, but I just have a crush on Kate Hudson. But
I don't remember what he's like. I cannot, just by the poster alone and his hair, I can't imagine.
And his jorts. I'm confused why he's wearing jorts. And
I think they're cargo shorts.
Basically see Kate Hudson's labia. So I think that 2008 sexism is at its finest. So I'm excited to give this a rewatch.
So we're, of course, talking about 2008's Fool's Gold.
Fool's Gold. How do we talk about like how well it did, like in the
We do later. I can now.
Okay.
I can now if you'd like to.
Yeah. What did this movie make?
Okay, give me a second.
Zach, have you seen this movie? I have
No.
not. I have not seen this movie
I haven't.
either. Great. So 2 and 2.
I remember it like existing, like commercials
Right.
and whatnot. There's one
You're
part where
in for a treat.
someone falls off a boat, and like it's probably supposed to be funny, but I didn't see it.
I remember a plane, I
Looking
think,
for Rotten
and
Tomatoes.
a desert. I don't know what a boat and a desert have to do in the same, but hey, we'll find out.
Give me a sec, guys.
I also mistakenly said this came out the same day as The Dark Knight. I must be thinking of something else.
competition.
It could.
Well,
You
she
know.
winter.
Winter, yeah, and that's a
Sorry.
summer film.
So I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, this came out February 8th, 2015. On Rotten Tomatoes.
18. I was to say because then
2008. We're wrong. We're all wrong. We're all wrong. Take it back.
What? This movie came out on February 8th, 2008.
You said 15.
2015.
Oh,
So let's take it back.
And then you guys said 2018.
I took it back. This movie came out on February 8th, 2008. It got an 11% on Rotten Tomatoes, although 40% of the audience score liked it. Let's see what it made. It made a budget of $70 million, and it made... How do you read this number?
Kevin Hart was in it.
$111 million, $231,041.
Dollars.
Oh, I thought that was the cents.
And
Nope, it made
12 cents.
and 12 cents.
Oh, so it did.
It made quite a bit of
It
Kind
revenue.
of. Not to go too into blah, 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 but a lot of times like a studio picture has to like double its budget to really like
Right.
make back because other things go into it
So it didn't quite.
to make like a true profit.
Sure.
So it might not have. I mean, I don't know if they count like I don't know who's keeping up with the Fool's Gold
Sure.
like streaming and DVD statistics.
Well, I guess we are.
how
We're
many
the
suburban
guys
mothers
this
are
year.
watching it. On
Yeah,
the
I don't know who's
weekend.
And how
constantly
many
updating that page.
grandfatherless teenagers are going to see this?
I hear the Alamo Drafthouse is doing a screening just for teens who just lost their grandfather.
It's a monthly
God.
thing, weirdly enough.
With little chemistry among the performers, humorless gags, and a predictable storyline, Fool's Gold fails on every level. It's one of the
Who said that? Roger
critics.
Ebert? He would.
He totally would. No, just a critic.
Well,
Is that at the point where he still had his jaw or no?
What?
Well, it would have said... Never mind. I was
why don't we just get into it and see if we agree with Robert
Robert
Obert?
Ebert.
Guys, this was just a nameless critic.
Yeah, Robert Obert.
Oh, right, you're right. Robert Obert.
See if we agree with him.
So
or not.
we're doing a hot take tonight, guys. We haven't watched this movie yet,
We didn't have time.
so we're gonna break off. We're
It's
gonna.
more
I
fun.
think that's the best way to do it.
It's
Yeah.
more fun when you have a group. Yeah.
Right.
So we're doing a hot take. We're gonna go watch like 20-minute, 30-minute increments
30.
of this movie, talk about it for a little bit, and then hop right back and to talk about what we discussed.
Fool's
Now,
Gold.
before we break, I want to know, real quick, in like 15 seconds or less, what you think is going to happen in this movie. Go, Edward.
Well, isn't this the one where everyone was like, Matthew McConaughey is a smelly man? So I imagine he's sweaty and on a boat a lot, and I hope that's just the plot.
Zach.
I think Matthew McConaughey is a rambunctious, almost like treasure hunter type boatsman. Kate Hudson is uptight. She ends up in the Caribbean with him, and together they have to work together to find a treasure of some kind.
Lindsay.
I think this indeed was the movie where everyone said Matthew McConaughey smells like an ass. So I think that he will smell like sunscreen and patchouli and ball sweat. And Kate Hudson's ears are going to flap and fly her away to the treasure, the fool's gold.
And I think it is going to be about like a treasure hunter, which makes no sense because it's 2008, and Kate Hudson's going to be like a post sorority sister. I don't know. I don't remember this movie, but I do remember he flies a boat. No, flies a jet ski. No, that can't be right. Does something in the air?
I hope he flies a boat.
Okay,
It's a flying boat.
let's go watch this, baby.
Oh, wait. Can I make one more guess?
Yes.
I bet the treasure they find is the friendship along the way.
No, it's probably real money.
It could be both. Nah.
But maybe they abandon it because of love.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, let's go watch and
Okay.
find out. Bye.
Take.
Hey guys, we're back. We just watched the first half hour of Fool's Gold. Who wants to start?
Basically, like, there's a boat, and somehow a fire starts, and Matthew McConaughey and a man named Alphonse are diving, and the boat blows up.
Yep, and sinks.
And lands right behind them.
But they don't so much... Well, Alphonse cares, but Matthew McConaughey does not care because he found a piece of a plate.
A small bit of a plate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So basically, what we're supposed to take from that is that he's been looking for the Queen's dowry for
Oh yeah, because
years.
in the very beginning, there's like text on the screen in like a
Describing.
PowerPoint. Lindsay described as a PowerPoint
It
presentation.
looked like a PowerPoint, you know, the way you have the effects, like the words come in with the laser sound, but no laser sound. Instead, we have what Zach referred to as waiting music.
The whole opening sounded like elevator music or like hold music.
It was slow and upbeat, but there was a boat fire going on in the background.
Sound like
so it was very
any
strange.
like any Pandora like instrumental chill radio.
Good, like studying music,
Yeah.
doing dishes music.
So he gets these two men. One of them is Malcolm Jamal Warner from The Cosby Show. The other is another man. They bring Matthew McConaughey to Bigg Bunny.
Bigg Bunny,
Bunny Deans.
Bunny Deans.
Bigg Bunny Deans.
Big
I'm
Bunny
sorry.
Deans.
Yes.
a gangster rapper,
Played by a teenage Kevin Hart.
and Bigg Bunny is like, yeah, he's a rapper and like a investor slash gang person,
Gangster,
and
I
he's got all
guess.
these other guys who like shoot people for him. Matthew McConaughey is like diving for him, I guess. It's like, oh, I'll give you money to
he's
get
He's
treasure.
like an investor.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, my boat sank and I don't have anything to show for it.
But I
except
got this
I
play.
got part of this
Got a
play.
corner of a plate.
You guys do a great, as Lindsay said before, Bill Clinton.
We're doing
Yes.
great, Bill Clinton.
Everybody in this movie sees the plate and
Everybody.
is like, it's from Howard Johnson's. It looks like a Howard Johnson's plate. What's
a
Howard
joke.
Johnson's?
It's like it's also in Canada, right? It's
It's like a roadside
a
That's
restaurant.
Tim Hortons. Is
Tim
in
Hortons.
Canada.
Oh yeah, I'm getting that confused with Tim Hortons. Yeah, Howard Johnson's is. You're right. It's like a rest stop
Yeah,
restaurant.
restaurant-y
Um,
sort of.
So Kevin Hart, Big Bunny Deans is like, I've had enough of your bullshit, Matthew McConaughey. Has he had a name yet?
Finn.
Finnegan is his last name, and Kate Hudson lovingly referred to him as Finn.
Because it's water.
So,
Like a fish.
So they bring him out to sea, and they're like, they have chains tied around his ankles with an anchor attached and a gun to his face. And he's like, I'm getting divorced tomorrow. I don't even know I did why. I don't even know I did wrong.
Yeah.
And one of the guys is like, well, you're never going to find out. But instead of pulling the trigger,
Which he had in his hand.
yeah, up to Matthew's head.
he put the gun in his underwear instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While he was
his
saying,
waist-
"Well,
his
you'll never
waistband.
find out," he was
Yeah.
just like, "You'll never find out." Boop.
You don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it seemed like the gun was going back in his pants because he was going to like take it easy on him. Cause,
Yeah, I thought he would
feel
be
bad.
like, "Oh, buddy, I just got divorced."
But instead, gone away, he says, you're never going to find out either. And with the help of the Cosby Show, starts pushing him off the back of the boat. But Matthew McConaughey is very ripped in this movie, so can
He's
restrain.
a wily man. You know him.
With the hold music playing in the background.
Yeah.
Da-da-da.
Da-da, ra-ta-ta-da-da. and it's like this comically wild scene. I say comically very lightly.
He fights them off, and then somehow he gets the gun. He shoots a guy through the foot, and then he shoots the other guy's ear off.
Yep.
This is a
It's a PG-13 movie, right? Because we saw some.
It must be. Yeah.
It must be.
We saw some titties a little later. We'll get to that a little.
We'll
later.
get to the tits.
But titties. But
The medical term.
you know that I lost my train of thought. That's the comedy. That's the comedy.
I don't think it is. He shot a guy through a foot.
I think
he's going to have trouble walking for the rest of his life.
I think he was wearing his shoe. He shot it through the shoe.
The sneaker.
No.
Foot.
We saw a hole in his foot.
In his shoe. He was wearing a shoe.
Yeah, you saw a hole through the sneaker.
But there's not like there's
foot.
a ton of extra
You could
room
see
in
the
shoes.
sky. You could see the air through the hole in his foot. It's not a real. Yeah, no. Anyway,
So Matthew McConaughey, they drive away, and the anchor pulls him down to the literal bottom of the.
Boy.
It pulls him to the bottom of the
they
ocean.
showed the boat. It was out in deep water. They made a
Yeah.
point to show us.
Like he was in the middle of nowhere. The ocean is miles deep.
Many.
And he would be so dead before he got to the bottom, let alone have the capacity to reach the bottom and do like 15 minutes of stuff.
Not only that, the bottom of the ocean was crystal clear.
Yeah.
All the light was coming through, crystal clear blue. It went from like the ceiling of the room we are in to the floor of the room we are in.
Yeah.
That was the bottom of the ocean.
Which I thought first, I was like, well, surely they just didn't pull out that far in the boat. But then after,
Sick. That's fucking sweet.
Orville
gross,
Redenbacher.
man.
Yeah.
Surely they just didn't pull the boat out far enough and they were just in shallow waters. But no, when it pans out after somehow Matthew McConaughey saves himself by...
He shoots the chains off of
he
his foot.
finds the gun, which is like 8 feet away, but uses the anchor to walk
To hop.
to
Big
the
Bunny
gun.
Beans hop.
To Big Bunny Dean's hop to the gun, shoots the chains off, and floats to the top.
I
Real
like.
quick.
He has
Really
the
quick.
bends now, by the way. But go on.
Yes! That's exactly
What?
Is that what you were going to say?
No, I didn't even think the bends when you scuba dive. If you like do it wrong, or if
you go up
No.
too fast without regulating,
Or that's
air
the actual
gets in
definition.
your
Make sure you're talking to the.
That's the actual definition.
air
Sorry,
gets
everybody.
in your bloodstream, and you have trouble. You'll be like this for a good long time.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's so spooky.
Yeah, we had to.
Is that
we
because
would-
it hurts to stand up, or like you can't?
I think it was. I mean, I don't want to say this over a live podcast, but I mean, I think it is, and be incorrect, I guess. But I think it is nitrogen or carbon dioxide or pure oxygen. Actually, it might be pure oxygen because of what you're breathing that gets inside your arteries.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And just sort of
Oh.
expands.
Ugh. Well, soon after this nasty
Good
business,
Lord, that's
We can cut that.
disgusting.
he gets picked up by a bunch of spring breakers. That's when we see some titties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They pull him
Real
up, and
quick.
he's like, "Not a bad rescue." And it's like,
Yeah, but like the first thing he says, he's floating in the middle of the ocean, and we assume this is overnight
Yeah.
because
'Cause we
he
see a
says the
sunset.
divorce is tomorrow at 10 a.m., right?
Yeah.
yeah.
And we see a sunset, and then it's the day after, and
But
spring
it's
breakers
weirdly
come.
like the same time of day as he was dropped in the water.
Yeah.
In that they probably filmed this in one day. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, and the spring breakers are like, there's like one rambunctious guy who's like, yeah, man, oh man, we got a
It was a boat full of Matthew Lillards.
yeah, it was a boat full of Matthew Lillards. He was like, oh, we got this guy just floating in the middle of the water. Man, you gotta get some Earth's nectar, and she throws him a beer.
Isn't Matthew Lillard the?
We
is
are
he the
way off
guy-
base now.
Is he the guy who played Shaggy?
Yeah, he was Shaggy.
yeah.
I thought
wasn't-
he was the guy who played the guy with the rats.
That's Crispin Glover in Willard.
That's why I was looking at you like, what the fuck?
The rat guy? The character Willard?
My mom told me that my grandpa hated going to the movies, and they always wanted to go as kids, and he would never take them. And then finally one day they were like, let's go to the movies. We really want to go. And he's like, fine, I'll take you. and they went to see a random movie, and it was the original Willard, which is just about a man who like falls in love with some rats, and it's fucking nasty. And he said when they left, he was like, "We are never going to the movies again."
Oh my God. Anyway, so a bunch of spring breakers save him, and now he has to run to his divorce. On the other side of the coin, we have already previously met Tess, played by...
I thought her name was like Shell or something stupid.
It's Tess, played by Kate Hudson, and she's like working on a rich guy's boat.
She's a stewardess on Donald Sutherland's boat.
Yeah, who plays like a very, very rich man.
Captain
and
Donald
she
Sutherland.
has 2 gay chef friends on the boat.
Who are in a relationship, we learn real quick.
Yeah, they're in love.
They can't stop talking about it.
One of them doesn't have a mom because he brought that up.
And the other one said, Gary.
Hey, Gary!
And so
That was actually the tagline on the poster, which was weird.
fool's gold. Hey, Gary.
Gary.
One of them has like the weirdest, like old timey, like what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like Chicago accent.
Hey, what? We're gay, but we're from Brooklyn, huh?
So they have the divorce hearing, and the lawyer's like, you shouldn't have married just because the sex was great. And Kate Hudson's like, it was really great.
Which lawyer?
She
Yeah.
brought
That's
out
not
a
your place.
diagram.
Not also
It was
her
weird.
mom.
Right, yeah.
So then she's like, if he's not here by blah, blah, blah time, you get everything in the divorce. And of course, Matthew McConaughey's not there in time.
Only by
He's
like a
stranded.
landslide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just misses it. And the lady's like, well, I take pleasure in letting you know that as of 50 or 60 seconds ago, you two are divorced. And she
Hum, hum,
got
hum.
everything. And it's like, ma'am, don't be cruel.
Yeah.
You're
Matthew
a bad lawyer.
Matthew McConaughey's sad. I wasn't expecting them to have already been a couple in this movie.
Yeah.
But when his boat, burns to the bottom of the sea, he still manages to swim in the boat and grab a perfectly intact picture of the two of them, and he keeps it on him. So we know he still loves her. And they used to treasure hunt together. This is something they learned. Or like Kate Hudson had this theory about this like Spanish family crest or something, and Matthew McConaughey tells her, like, I found the plate. And she's like, you found the plate? He's like, I found the plate.
I found the plate. Hillary has it.
And she's like, where is it? And he's like, Bigg Bunny Dean's got it.
Alphonse has it.
I'm gonna
Alphonse, the
say that
Ukrainian man.
when we repeat the Matthew McConaughey lines, we don't do the accent because none of us quite do it well. And
That's true.
It makes it hard to
Anyway.
understand.
We do it wrong enough.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I think it hinders the translation of what's happening.
I think it's good. Anyway,
You're very wrong. Go on.
they go their
Dad.
separate ways. Matthew McConaughey is sad. He has literally nothing. Kate Hudson also is bummed because that boat she was going to sell to go to get her PhD in Chicago. But she's back on the rich boat, and you can see like she's kind of longing. Like she wants to do the rich stuff, but not the rich stuff. She's kind of longing. She wants to do the treasure hunting stuff still, but she's got to go be responsible and get her PhD.
But she also wants to get out of there quick because if Finn sniffs that boat out,
That
he's
rich,
gonna
rich
come
boat.
with his money grubbing fingers.
Yeah.
Oing, oing, oing.
And say, give me your money so I can look for treasure, please.
So Alphonse is there, and he's like, "Go get." He's like the person,
doctor is
the person,
coming.
yeah, the
Oh, no
Donald
accents.
Sutherland.
No accents, says Zach. No accents.
Because Ewan
Yeah,
Bremner
Zach.
is Scottish and doing a Ukrainian accent, I feel
Yeah.
like we're allowed to do a Ukrainian accent.
So
So do your
Alphonse-
Ukrainian
Oh,
accent.
no, I did Scottish.
This is what David Dastalmakian, the character he would play if it came out this
So-
year. Anyway,
Alphonse is like, "Hey, Donald Sutherland's daughter's coming in shopping. The whole town's getting ready. Here she comes. That's her helicopter." And Matthew McConaughey walks out, and that's about where we left.
That's
off.
where we left
Yep.
off. And real quick before we go into it, why does the whole town know that the rich guy's daughter's coming? That's
yeah,
stupid.
what is he?
She's
I know
hot.
he's very
Probably.
rich, but what does he do?
It might be it.
Professionally rich. Let's
Yeah,
find out.
rich.
His name is Nigel Honeycutt.
Nigel Honeycutt.
of the delay blows Honeycutt.
Guys, let's go see what happens in this movie. I hope we find some treasure.
Bye.
So where did we leave off? She was
God.
about to arrive. Man, so much happened, and yet so little happened.
Yeah.
So Gemma showed up. She's the dumbest character in the history of everything.
Like way too much.
yeah.
I can't stand it almost.
She's every dumb character in every piece of media combined into one. Anyway, she's Donald Sutherland's daughter. Her hat flies off while she's on a boat, and Matthew McConaughey catches the hat And she's like, my savior.
Oh, you saved my life.
But he gets hit by a boat, so they bring him on the ship, and they're like, we're going to fix you up nice. Cocktails at 6:30.
With a head injury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
let's
this
give
is
you
head
alcohol.
injury number 2, right? Because head
3.
number
3.
already we're at
Yeah,
3.
already 3. Kate Hudson hits him. He's hit by a boat, and then he has to be knocked out at some point for. Oh yeah,
When
and he's
he
knocked
For
out.
Bigg Bunny the
Got
first
shot.
time.
Bigg Bunny, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So 3 head injuries.
We're at
thus
3
far.
head injuries, and guys, spoiler alert, more come.
So they're having dinner, and Tess comes out with a tray of food and is like, that's my husband, and like throws the food.
Yeah, and it's like throws the
wildly
good
clunky.
china at each guest.
Truly, it's not even just like, whoa, I've been surprised. I think
No.
she like took a
Throws
plate
it
and
at-
tossed it at each
Launches
guest.
it
Yeah.
at Donald Sutherland.
Everything dies down real quick, and they just get into like explaining like treasure.
They explain what
Right.
the Queen's dowry is. It's a long explanation. Essentially, it's a treasure that was on a Spanish boat that was secretly moved to another boat, and all the boats sank. And so they think they know where the treasure
4 out of 4 of us were confused as to what the real explanation truly, really, really was.
Yeah, it was like his whole thing when he would talk about like the way they discovered like I guess where they think it is, and he'd be like, so they went down there and then they go over to the other side of Florida, but why were there no shoes left in the parlor?
It was a
Well-
long day's journey into night's length of a scene right there.
And then we went to the middle of France, and in the middle
You
of
sound
France.
like
Yeah.
Big Mouth. You sound like Bubble Bath. That's
Maya
what you
Rudolph?
Rudolph. a steaming bubble bath.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
but while they explain it all, then he'll be like, but you forgot about the bottles.
and another
And
a
Gemma's
boat.
like, I don't know what a
Gemma
boat
the
is.
whole time is so fucking turned
She's
on.
like
Her
she's-
nipples are so hard.
She's very
her mouth
erect.
is a her mouth is agape, and her eyeshadow is just falling off her face.
And the thing that surprised me most is she's insufferably dumb. Like there's no nuance to it. She's just like everything is like she has an insane response to everything. But she will like finish their sentences.
Right, yeah,
They'll be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
they'll be like, so when it's at half mast, and she'll be like 42 knots. And it's like, why does she know a few things?
know
They're,
that,
they're
but
writing
nothing
her
else.
as the dumbest character ever, and yet she's finishing their sentences on complex like
Right.
art
Yeah.
history and like well
Yeah.
not art history, but you know what I mean.
I can't stand her character. Like it's far too much.
Awful.
It's like again, there's dumb characters out there, but this one is like everything she says is like this is not a human.
And yet, a bit later, Kate Hudson is like, you're dumb. And she goes and cries about it. And then they immediately make up.
because they use her to like lure in like distract a bunch of guys who are like competing for the treasure.
So,
right? There's this
yeah,
like competition
so
plot line.
Ray Winstone is Mo, who
Mo
was
Fitch.
Finn's
Fitch?
mentor.
Yeah, Fitch.
Mo Fitch.
Mo
is his name.
Fitch.
Give me a little more Fitch.
Baby. And so he's also, Bigg Bunny has hired Mo to look for the treasure as well.
All 4 of us have college degrees, and one of us just said, so Bigg Bunny hired Mo hired Mo Fitch to find the treasure.
Two of us have masters, not me and Zach.
Man. that
I
was
have
it.
my master's in special education, so that's
So this is
and we're talking about
So
this.
this is on
Yeah.
par.
Yeah, it's on par.
Long story short, they find a sword. Matthew McConaughey's like, aha, I've got the upper hand. I know what I'll do. I'll go over to my enemies and I'll show them that I have the sword, and then they'll take the sword from me. And they do that.
Yeah, wait, what was his goal here?
He was under the water, and he was messing up like their
No,
the
we know
grid.
that. But why did he go to
no.
Bigg Bunny?
No, we're talking he already got the,
Gemma.
It was the grid. That just goes to show how this section of the fucking movie sort of flowed.
So much happened, but it was nothing. It was
Yeah,
nothing.
so this is post the competition of looking for the
can we
sword.
talk about when the sword flew out of the water?
Oh, yes.
And it flew and it landed right between Gemma's legs.
Yep.
And she had the biggest orgasm I've ever seen.
Her whole body shooketh and her eyes rolled in the back of, I'm not kidding, rolled in the back of her head. And
That's it.
That's it. I was going to do the noise, but I'm not going to. So that's...
Oh, yeah.
He made that noise.
So after the scene where Mo and Matthew McConaughey are fighting over this sword that's buried under the sea, I don't know why are there blowholes coming out of the earth?
They're like
too?
blowing it up
Yeah,
to
they're
find stuff.
doing charge
Grid.
treasure.
What does that mean?
No, that's what I was talking
I
about.
saw the grid.
That's the grid. The blowholes were...
Oh, as
First of all,
Finn,
I don't think
Finn
that's...
attempts to secretly take down Mo's search grid. Finn discovers a sword which holds a clue to finding the treasure. If this is Mo's grid, why would he not have found this? This seems like
Because Mo, have you heard Mo talk? He's an
Yeah,
idiot.
I don't know what sort of accent Ray Winston.
I hope he and Gemma end up together.
Oh,
God. Well, he's supposed to be his mentor, but anyway, they're in this like competition of who can find the fucking treasure. And Finn gets the sword, but while it's happening, they're trying to like blow him up, and he rides on a explosion blow, and
Like a geyser.
throws the sword onto his boat, but he lands on Mitch's boat, and then Gemma has her orgasm.
Right.
And speaking of Gemma, she goes to play, what's it called? Rum
Chopsticks?
Timmy?
Gin rummy.
Jim Rummy.
Rum Tum
Why'd you
Tugger.
say chopsticks?
I don't know.
And then berate me for getting the name wrong. She goes to play Gin Rummy with her dad in the
Daddy.
parlor, which I am thinking to myself,
Imagine
I'm
if
like,
she had an accent.
I am thinking like, we don't need a scene of just them. It felt like it was so long that it took us away from the main plot. And I feel like there are 4 leads in this film now because they got this big backstory.
I kind of appreciated that scene though, just a little bit. I did because she's still a moron. It's still evident, but like it was nice to see. I don't think we mentioned this before, but Donald Sutherland had got a hold of Gemma's phone earlier and read the text that said, I'm stuck with my dad for 2 whole HOLE weeks. Kill me or something or other. And I felt bad. I felt bad when he read that because that's sad. That hurts your feelings. So I liked that little scene. I liked to see like what was going to happen next. Was he going to bring up like, I read your fucking phone, you bitch? Or
He drops his accent to do that. Yeah.
Or, I don't know. I appreciated it.
Well, the whole conflict is that he's like, oh, you and your mom have great ways of taking my money. And she's like, I don't want your money except for all these things.
Which is such a...
And then he's like, your mom obviously didn't marry me for me. And which got me thinking, I'm like, is he her stepdad or regular dad?
Well,
no, because she was
24 years
24.
old.
Okay, yeah.
So
that makes sense.
He was 51, so he could like the baby batter was probably still cooking at that point.
Ew.
It's okay.
Gross.
It's okay. So
3 out of 4 of us
But that
did
was-
not appreciate that.
and
Speak
I
for
think
yourself.
3 or 4 of us did not appreciate that scene. So stupid. I don't need more backstory to a two-dimensional
felt
character.
long.
Like, you're
did
making her a
feel long.
two-dimensional
Again-
character on purpose. I don't need more.
For some reason, at that point to me, it felt like I was like, are there 4 leads and 2 stories in this film? And are 2 of the leads Donald Sutherland and Gemma?
They feel more like leads than Kate Hudson, who is just there sometimes
So
Yes.
underdeveloped.
to
Yes,
eavesdrop
she
on
is.
She
people.
feels like the poorly written best friend in a rom-com, whereas Gemma at least feels like too much of a cartoon of a person, but I don't know, more
She's
of a
a
person.
stronger
than-
character.
Yeah, stronger is the word.
yeah.
So now let's go back to the thing where Matthew McConaughey, in the middle of the night, while Kate Hudson's looking for him to be like, I want to, I don't know. She was like trying to say nice things about him, right?
Yeah, saying
I
how, like-
miss your butt,
I miss your penis.
miss your big butt.
everything he did, like reminded her of like how they were.
Their old times together
Yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. Sure. While she's looking for him, we're like, where's Matthew McConaughey? Why does he then? What happens?
This
You were
I
talking
don't
about
understand. Yeah, he goes to Bigg Bunny's place of business.
Boat
Like
of
it was like a
business?
restaurant.
Something.
Oh.
And he has the sword that he found underwater, and
A
he was
katana
like,
sword.
"I'm going to use this sword to stab you." Just kidding. And then one of the guards knocks him out a fourth or fifth time.
So it's fourth head injury.
And then Bigg Bunny's like, hey, I'll keep you alive if you find this treasure. So once again, a nothing scene.
What was the point?
That was
First
a
off,
throwaway.
you just
that
lost the sword.
Right. Which
Because they
apparently
took
had a
it.
clue on it to where the treasure is.
So you lost the sword. Why did you go to Bigg Bunny if
Yeah, what
they
was your
thought
end
they
game?
thought you were dead? You might have gotten away.
Yeah, you also... he clearly didn't go to negotiate terms because he had to improvise to negotiate those terms. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand what because now he owes Bigg Bunny the money.
Right.
He owes-
If he's
yeah.
dead, he doesn't owe him money.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, he owes him more money than he would have if he just ignored it and just ran
Yeah.
away from Bigg Bunny with the rich guy he was with.
I'm beginning to think that the real fools are the people who paid the ticket prices to go see this movie.
Hey.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey.
And the gold,
Okay.
the gold,
My
the
gran-
money they spent.
My grandpa was dead.
Well, at least he didn't have to see Fool's Gold.
It's true.
Oh,
It's
I'm
true.
sorry,
Actually,
Pop.
what was weird is
Sorry,
that
I'm so sorry.
in his will, he left you a future DVD copy of Fool's Gold.
Yeah. Signed Antonio Romulo Morbido.
So should we get back into it? I think we're
Yeah,
all caught
let's-
up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I am stunned by how little happened.
I think we're going to finish this in the next round. So
Oh
we'll
my
be,
God, guys, this movie's nuts.
We'll be right back.
Bye. Okay, so here's the thing. Now I'm going to say we were like a little invested by the end
Yeah.
in like the in
I don't
them
know,
not
we were,
dying.
We were talking at the movie, I guess.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were doing the thing. We're like, don't do that, do this. But does that mean it was good? No.
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 Where the fuck did we leave off?
I feel like we watched 40 minutes of it, and I can maybe sum it up in a few sentences. And I'm not going to do that.
But
But
where
I'm
did
just
we
speaking
leave
like,
off?
So it'll happen
Before the church.
They went to a church to find some stuff, and they had
What
sex
happened
in
before
the
the
church.
church?
The sword, and he was like, hey, if you
Was
find
that
a
when
treasure...
right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there was that tiny montage of them looking for
More stuff.
more stuff, and they didn't find it. And then there was a moment where somebody said, like, I don't know, like the word and then the word ground, and then Matthew McConaughey's like, aground, that's it. It's on the other side of the island.
It was like in House when Dr. House would be like, he couldn't figure out what was going on with the patient, but then he was like
Somebody's
somewhere
like,
and someone
Does somebody
said-
have a cancer?
and he was and he was like, that's it, it's cancer. But basically it was always like he would be like somewhere else and someone would be like, yeah, I left my car down at the garage. He was like, garage, gee, Raj sounds like the DNA of a, and then he would like have the thing solved. It was
Yep.
that moment, but
Yeah.
not clever because Gemma said it.
Right.
Yep. So they find the wreckage of the ship, and they're like, but there's no treasure here. We'll search for clues at a church. And then they bang-a-rang in the church.
Yeah, because they find a clue that says there's a fucking grave out back
Yeah.
that has even more clues in it.
Like, before we check that out, why don't we check out each other's graves?
Yeah.
See what bones are buried there.
Okay.
Bury a bone in
Have
her tomb.
unprotected sex
In her
in this
catacomb.
church.
Inside of a church.
Oh, yeah,
That one was also
unprotected.
No Fool's Gold 2. Baby gold.
Ooh, something to consider for the end of the movie. I'll bring it up later.
Okay, cool.
It just came to me now. Okay,
You know what else just came?
that's what I was.
Matthew
yeah,
McConaughey and
in
Kate Hudson.
yeah,
in the
yeah,
church.
yeah, exactly.
That's not our brand, though, so we have to cut this.
No, we're keeping it. Okay, so they finish fucking in the church. They find a book that says in it, as Kate what's her name?
Hudson.
Hudson.
Moss.
I
Kate
almost
Moss.
said Moss and Winslet at the same time.
Kate
Moss
Winslet in Fool's Gold.
Kate Hudson is translating Latin or Spanish. Is it Latin?
Latin.
Latin.
Just like as is. You
Yeah.
know.
She's like,
classic Latin.
oh, got it. I can read it through and just translate, as we go.
Got this
And
dead
says,
language.
oh my God, the treasure's in the blowhole at Clifton Point.
Yep.
Which is like, I don't know. If
It's
they knew
right there.
exactly where it was, then like,
It's got a name.
how come they never
know
thought it?
of
Yeah.
the blowhole at Clifton Point. Yeah.
And they say it's like it's genius because 2 days a year the blowhole isn't blowing.
It's a cave.
It's just a
Right,
fucking
right.
cave.
It's a
Which
cave
I'm like,
hole.
okay, if there's a cool blowhole in a cool island, wouldn't that one be a tourist attraction, and two be something people would want to go in on the 2 days where it's not going to blow? So like, wouldn't have someone
But it did
stumbled
blow.
across that?
Yeah,
No,
it blows like
Wait,
every.
it did blow.
no,
No,
but
they
like on
say
the
2 days every
where it
year.
doesn't blow.
Oh.
Which is where they buried it. So that means 2
Oh,
days
yeah.
a year. This thing,
Should be a
You could
tourist
just-
trap.
you would think that people would be
That's
like,
not
I
a
want to go in
bad
that
point.
blowhole.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
As kids usually say on trips.
Let's go to the blowhole.
Uh,
Is that a name of a bar? That should be the name of a bar. Anyway,
It is.
Well, they're in the graveyard, and they're like, "We found the treasure." And Bigg Bunny was apparently listening with like sonar devices,
because he was
He just
enough out of the
strolls
light
up.
that they couldn't see him
Yeah.
for the past.
But
20
he's
minutes.
like, "Well, thank you for finding my treasure." He approaches with his goons, and yeah, and they have a slapsticky fight.
they
that-
escape on a moped. I'm sorry,
They don't even escape. It ends up with Kevin Hart taking his girl, taking Kate Hudson.
Poor,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the rest of the movie, Kate Hudson is just having a rough time.
Yeah,
Her hair is being yanked every
Yeah,
which
she gets
way.
punched in the face.
Yeah, yeah, she does.
She
they
does.
think Matthew McConaughey dies again because he flies his moped off the side of the cliff and a fire blows. But I guess he wasn't in it.
Yeah.
No,
That was just a
Yeah.
coincidence. This fire was blowing.
My question is Kevin Hart supposed to be funny?
I can't tell.
And if not, why did you cast Kevin Hart as the villain?
right,
I think at the end when he's in the plane and he keeps saying shit, oh shit, man, shit. I think that was supposed to be funny.
That was the comedy.
That was
when people curse, it's silly.
That was actually the sides they gave him for his audition, and they were like, perfect.
I think that was his comedic brand in the movie, or it was supposed to be.
I mean-
Yeah, it was bizarre. They could have just cast like a action because he wasn't like written to be funny. Like, oh, he's like because Kevin Hart like there's something
he's
inherently
funny.
funny about like and about like a sort of a short like high pitched voice
Scrappy,
like
yeah.
gangly. That could be funny if well written.
And and the fact that his name was Bigg Bunny, maybe
Yeah.
we were
When he's
expecting
tiny.
like some laughs.
He could have been like a funny character because it was a funny Kevin Hart character, but they didn't write him as such.
No.
So they should have just gotten like a serious actor to play him or someone.
Or
Or
someone
just like
else.
Or made
any
it
guy
better,
who had
yeah.
been a day player up until that point.
because he's not. He wasn't. I mean, he also wasn't nearly as famous in 2008, which is probably part of it. But he also
Yeah.
wasn't like marketed in the movie. So what was the
Right.
point of casting
Yeah.
Kevin Hart?
Who went to the movie and was like, oh, Kevin Hart's in it. What a lark. yeah.
So anyway, they steal Kate Hudson so they can get the treasure with her knowledge. They send her down into the blowhole, and then one of the guys, the fucking
get
the
over that.
white guy, the white guy,
Cyrus.
Cyrus in the group wants her dead so bad.
So
Yeah, he
bad.
does.
Which like they don't need to why? Everyone
He's
else
kind
was
of
like,
the Frollo in Hunchback.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
Frollo and she's Esmeralda.
Whoa,
You know what I mean?
deep.
Jelly bean.
She's Romani and he's voiced by someone whose name I can't remember.
Yep.
Oh, metaphor's dead. Go on.
But like everyone else is like, dude, what are you doing? And he fucking throws the rope down and is like, go die in that blowhole, bitch.
Say
what
hi to
point-
your husband.
Yeah, he says that. That's dark.
That was fucked. Yeah.
At what point do they announce that Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson have gills? Because they are constantly spending 15-minute stretches entirely
At
submerged.
least
Long
5 minutes. At
time.
least 5.
Yeah, both of them. And that's what happens here. She sends her down there, and she has to sort of like tie herself to a rock and hide while the blowhole goes off, and like so she doesn't get like blown to bits. And she just breathes the whole
Yeah.
time. She doesn't look like she's having a nice time, but she's living.
Holding our breath. You know what we should have done? We should have tried holding our breaths as long as the shots in real time, to see if it were in real time, if we could have done it. We should have done that.
I would love to. We'd
the
pass
Fool's
out.
Gold Challenge.
If you're at home, make sure you do the Fool's Gold Challenge.
For the entirety of this episode, go back, start it over,
Yeah.
hold your breath.
And reach out to us at MeetCuteCast on Twitter and Instagram, hashtag Fool's Gold Challenge.
If you aced the Fool's Gold Challenge, hashtag Fool's Gold Challenge at the MeetCuteCast. If you failed...
If you died.
If you failed the Fool's Gold Challenge, I hope your visit to the hospital was good.
We will not compensate.
Yeah. Do not. If you fail, don't tag us on social media. We want no part of this.
We don't have any advertisers yet, so we
Yeah.
cannot pay for your hospital bill.
Actually, wait, I think we do have some ad copy we got in the mail they want us to read. Should we just do that real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
it
sure.
for?
Orville Redenbacher, popcorn. Wow, it's crazy. Lindsay, will you read the first line for us?
Of the popcorn ad?
Of the
Yeah.
popcorn
Yeah,
ad,
you have it right there in front of you.
It says
here
like
it is. I got it.
speaker one,
Oh.
speaker two. Yeah.
Right, okay. When it's a rainy, cold winter night and you're watching your favorite rom-com on TV, what's the one thing you crave in your mouth and in your stomach?
Popcorn. Yeah, it says speakers 2 and 3 yell popcorn at the same time.
Right.
And then it goes back to speaker 1.
That's right. You crave some nice, warm, buttery Orville Redenbacher popcorn. Stick it in the microwave. Make sure you put a paper towel over it, otherwise it'll explode on the walls everywhere and your mother might get mad. And then once it's done, eat
Pop!
it up.
Yeah, speaker 4 yell pop, and speaker 2 also yell pop.
A little delayed, yeah.
Pop some of that Orville Redenbacher popcorn in your mouth.
Who didn't put a paper towel over the popcorn bag?
Ma.
Who's gonna clean this up?
Now the microwave smells like butter.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, everyone. It says speakers 1, 3, and 4 be the mom, and speaker 2 be the family dog trying to avoid the conflict. So Haley, whatever you think that is.
Roll.
And then you just have to say the catchphrase at the end, Lindsay, if you don't mind.
Orville Redenbacher popcorn. Pop, pop, pop.
All right,
I was just reading what it said.
Yeah, we're just reading the copy.
Yes,
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
what you want from me.
And
but
we're back.
I gotta say, Lindsay, you
Yes.
should be a voiceover actor.
Oh,
You
come
put on that voice. I can hear that.
on.
Woo, that's good.
Hello,
if you got a
it's
business-
Delilah. Can I say that?
Oh,
Do you have to
yes.
cut that?
No,
'Cause I
cut,
said
no,
Delilah?
I don't
Oh.
What's
care.
that
Hi,
mean?
what is that?
Delilah.
She's the radio
a
DJ.
She's
Oh.
like
She
a
talks
radio-
about love.
Oh, say
what,
whatever you
for-
want.
Come on
A
and
local
saddle
thing?
on up with Delilah. I'm
Come
playing
on
your
and
favorites.
Suck my dick,
Tell
I'm
me,
Delilah.
is that part of your brand? Suck my
Yeah,
dick?
yeah.
Not really.
Haley's brand specifically, but not ours. Not
Yeah.
that. We are good
Suck
Christian
your-
boys.
Suck your dick, flick your bean to Delilah.
But if
No, Delilah, have you ever listened to her? For some reason,
Her
every
voice sounds
fucking
just-
time I'm
Oh.
in an Uber, the fucking Uber driver's listening to Delilah. I'm like, are they putting it on because they think me, tiny white girl, wants to listen to this? Are they doing this for my benefit, or do they like it? She's a radio DJ who has to be, 700 years old now?
At least.
And she like just plays love songs, and she takes calls from
And the calls are
callers.
from like Wanda from
Inside the house.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
every call, almost, let the record show almost fell.
Zach almost fell
And
off.
she's
of his
and it's
cube.
always like, my boyfriend broke up with me, and she's like, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully this song can heal your
Is
heart.
there a song? And then she plays like Halo by Beyonce, trying to,
Yeah,
some sort
Jeez.
of, or something by like
it's
Heart.
truly like it was a thing in the 80s.
Mm.
Or probably earlier, which is why I assume she's 700 years old, and it's all like women who still don't have jobs and are home eating like bonbons.
She talks
Call
about
it
like
in.
what she gardens and how she can incorporate vegetables with her pasta because all of her
What?
viewers are like massively overweight, probably.
Oh
something.
no, Delilah listeners! I mean, you're not listening to our podcast. I have no need to address you.
So Kate Hudson's in the hole.
Fool's Gold, the 2008 film.
She's in the hole. She wants to get out of that hole. Cyrus is like coming in the other direction, which why didn't they just do that in the first place?
Yeah, why didn't they just give her
A tank and be
scuba
like, go get, and
equipment
just
and
kill her when she comes back up
Right.
with a gun that they have.
They had guns and what is that? A harpoon gun?
They
And
did.
had-
Yeah.
No one
they were
uses the
fully
guns
stocked.
in this movie for like the right purpose, shooting people. They use
Yeah,
them-
if they could go around in the ocean, I'm sorry, delayed reaction here. If they could just go around using the ocean entrance like no problem, why'd they send her in the blowhole?
I don't know. But Cyrus
They
goes
wanted her
around
dead.
and he's like, "Oh, I got her." He tries to kill her. Matthew McConaughey is like,
He
"No,
comes
no,
out, he
no."
saves her.
He does a perfect little like full body drop into the hole, and he saves her. And Cyrus, they both hold on because they know that the explosion's coming. And Cyrus is like, as the dog in the Orville Redenbacher ad would say, "Ruh-roh," and he gets blown and killed. And
His
that's
blood
you
and chunks come out of the
Yes, you
hole.
see the geyser of red water come out with chunks, with
It
some
is-
fleshy chunks.
it is. What is that movie? The Shining.
The Shining with the
Oh,
doors. and
Elevator,
the
yeah.
Elevator, yeah.
But it goes up.
I've never seen The Shining.
Well, there's an
Bitch,
elevator
that's
full
the
of
next
blood.
rom-com.
So then we got like one more action sequence to take care of.
Of course we do.
And that is Kevin Hart being like, "Get on my plane!" to Kate
Which,
Hudson.
why at this point, you've got treasure, like,
He has it.
he had it, but then he loses it
Yeah,
accidentally,
because
right?
he like drops, he fumbles it. He's
He
like,
opens
"Oh,
the-
Butterfingers!"
Yeah.
He opens it, like you said,
Yeah.
Edward, on the wing of the, or like on the thing, and it all goes spilling out in the ocean. He did not wait till he was in a
Yeah, he
secure
should have
spot.
just flown it into his helicopter, but instead he's like, wow! And it goes spilling into the ocean. And then instead of, like, I don't know, trying to pick up the treasure, he picks up Kate Hudson and says, get in my plane for no reason. You're a help. Why would that help him?
Matthew McConaughey hops on the back of Gemma's jet ski, gets real close
Oh, yeah,
to the
because she
plane.
comes out of nowhere trying to save
Yeah.
the day.
Can I do this?
Yep.
Yes, sure.
So there's hope.
Yes,
We'll get to that later.
God. So Matthew McConaughey jumps on the side of the plane, and they have a whole thing, a whole fight. He makes Kevin Hart fall into the ocean. And the last thing Kevin Hart does is shoot the engine of the plane.
Does Kevin Hart die? Can we
I think
assume
it's
We
pretty-
assume that he
Okay.
does. Yeah.
he fell from
because
really
he hit the
He
water?
hit the water really
Yeah.
hard. Probably broke his neck immediately.
Anyway,
Dr. Lindsay House here.
I guess that was like his comedic moment. Matthew McConaughey gets in and he's like, "I didn't know you knew how to fly a plane." She's like, "Can't."
That was funny. That I actually laughed for real at. And then she said, technically. And then I said, oh, there we are. Now, here we are.
And then somehow he ends up being like, so she's flying the plane and they don't switch seats, but then he's flying the plane.
She just like
She
scoots
scoots over a
But
little.
it's not like
A
a
little.
bench seat.
Yeah.
Like an old car.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I don't know. I'm not sure what the layout of the plane was, but then he starts flying the plane and he's like, "It's gonna land. I love you. I love you." They kiss a whole bunch.
Wait, but you missed the line where she's like, oh my God, how did you know? Because he's like going, this part of the plane, check. And she's like, how do you know this? He's like, PlayStation.
Haha. I remember that line specifically, only that line, because they used to play this movie on TBS, and so I would see the commercial for it, and that's the only
Yeah,
clip
that
they
was in the
used
trailer. I
in the
remember
trailer
that.
or commercial.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's weird.
They put the last giant action sequence in the trailer.
Just that part where,
Oh, okay.
Without
where they're
context.
in the plane.
When
They
you
Okay.
show
sometimes-
Kevin Hart die. It's a whole
Sometimes
whole
remembering things like that, it brings me back to like watching TV, like after I finish my homework on like a Wednesday night or something, and
Yeah,
like you're watching
yeah.
whatever, and they show ads for things like that, and it's just I don't know, it brings me back to like my like living room and like
Yeah,
stuff. I don't know,
I get
it's
you.
weird. Should we all write something
Yeah.
together? I don't
Hey.
know.
Maybe like call our moms real quick.
Yeah, I think I need to make amends.
Ay.
You are done with this movie.
Yeah, so they fucking land the plane in the water, but I thought it was going to be like a real graceful landing, but it does topple over and then they go under the water.
But
And,
it's
but it's
fine.
fine, they're safe.
They
so-
should have rightfully died. It could.
A few times in this
you-
movie.
a few times.
You can't just open the window, open the door with all the pressure of the water
Yeah.
underneath.
I mean,
Blah, blah, blah.
we established early that Matthew McConaughey should have died in like the second scene of the movie where he gets thrown overboard with an anchor tied to his ankles
Yeah.
and goes
True.
to the bottom of
Do
the
you think
ocean.
it's canon at this point that he in films can't die?
I guess.
Right.
guess
Like
so.
in his contract.
Yeah. But he's like superhuman and everything. I know the wedding planner doesn't quite count because like what was going to happen to him, but
he wasn't in the wedding planner.
Yeah,
Matthew
was.
McConaughey?
Yes, he was. We just watched it.
It was the first episode of the McConaughssaince.
Oh, I'm thinking of the wedding singer. I'm so sorry. I'm like,
Which
who the
he was
fuck
way in
he?
the background.
Fucking
Yeah.
love
In every
that
scene-
movie.
every
The wedding
scene.
planner, obviously, yes, with the brown M&Ms and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, you've
Yeah,
heard
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
You could have been our guest. Yeah. So then I guess they donate the jewels to a museum.
And
It's probably not donated. They probably get a lot of money
Yeah,
for
they
it
probably-
too.
Probably
why did
got
I say
paid.
it? That's-
And also, this was in the Wikipedia, but I didn't see it in the movie. It says, in the end, the treasure is displayed in Moe's Museum, now renamed the Fitch Finnegan Maritime Museum.
We do not
yes.
see that in the film.
Didn't
at
even
all.
know Mo had a museum.
Oh, and real quick, the Gemma line. So there's hope refers to when they see the plane flying over, and someone's like, "I think he's flying that plane," and she says,
So there's hope.
"Let me say it all at the same time. 1, 2, 3.
So there's
Six,
hope.
six.
Oh, sorry. How'd
That's
that
what
happen?
it sounds like when you play it backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I just
Roll credits.
roll
Roll
credits.
Oh, Gemma and Alphonse are together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we saw that coming.
The same Scottish man from Wonder Woman, if that's any more of a
You're all
reference.
familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
I mean,
and
I can't
Gemma.
say I
Trainspotting.
saw it coming because of what happened in the movie. They had no scenes together practically, but we were like, well, the friends have to end up together, I guess.
Mhm. Haley said that as soon as the movie started, and she was right.
Yeah. Oh boy.
What a movie. So we're going to take a brief break and then come back, and we're going to give you our ratings. We'll be right back. So the first category, as we all know, is chemistry.
Can we do it out of 5 thwacks on McConaughey's head?
Yeah. 5 concussions.
5 concussions. Great.
Which I think is how many he should have had in this movie.
Lindsay, you're the guest, so we'll start with you.
Yes. 5 being the best.
Yep. 0 being the worst.
For chemistry.
So chemistry, I need to just like qualify this. Chemistry between Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson.
Yes. Strictly, yes.
Strictly them.
But not
Not all the other leads in the movie.
No, just the 2 romantic
Okay,
leads.
okay,
Right.
let's see. I would give them like a fucking 1. 1 concussion. Concussed 1 time. Because, first of all, I feel like they didn't have a ton of scenes together. Like,
Yeah, not really.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, not really. And the scenes that they did have were either like in the water, underwater, rushing through the water. So they didn't, any sort of dialogue that they had wasn't really like.
They're just in motion all the
They
time.
were in motion all the time. We really don't know. We assumed or at least I assumed, the backstory of their relationship was he's just some like bumbling fool and she's some academic. You know, maybe that's why they don't get along, but we don't really know. They don't really dive that deep into their relationship. And I wasn't invested. I didn't care. I cared more about Gemma and President Snow. So I will give the chemistry a 1. Yeah.
Haley, you sound like you have an opinion.
I don't. That's the thing. I don't. It was so they didn't have scenes together. They had like some cute smiles every once in a while. So how about a 2?
Wow, that's actually pretty high.
Really?
That's
That's 2 out of 5. That's not high.
I mean, I'm giving it a 0.5.
Whoa. So
Did just about nothing for me.
all right. In that case, I'll give it a 2. No.
Okay,
that's
no.
exactly the same
If that's how you
thing.
feel,
Yeah,
that's how you
fine.
feel,
That's
go
fine.
for it.
1.5.
Okay.
I'm also going to give it a 1.5 because if neither of them were famous, but I saw a picture of them on Instagram where they were married, I would believe it because they look like 2 people in Florida who would be married. So 1.5.
Gotcha. Next up is the best friends, which I guess in this case would be Gemma and Alf. Maybe.
Wait, you didn't go.
Yeah, I did. 0.5.
Oh, you did. Oh, you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
saying. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Gemma and
Alphonse.
Alphonse. Yes,
Not
those.
bad, but Gemma's tough because she wasn't Kate Hudson's best friend.
Right.
No,
But
technically.
She's kind of the
Have
friend
any.
to both, I guess.
Oh, I guess the
gay
gay cooks
chefs.
were.
They were Kate Hudson's
Oh,
best
yeah.
friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if this didn't go on a long tangent of adventure, yes, Alphonse would be his best friend, and the gay chefs would be hers.
So let's
Right.
do gay chefs and Alphonse.
Yeah,
But
they're
do we know
sidekicks.
the second chef's name? We know the other one
Yes.
was Gary.
Gary.
Hey,
and-
Gary!
Honestly, I think it was Eddie.
I think so too.
Because there's always an Edward.
Let's
But
find
I'm
out.
serious. I'm pretty sure it was Eddie.
Hey.
I think it was. I think you're right. I think you
Yep, there is an
are right.
Eddie
Eddie
character.
and Gary. Yep.
Well, one per rom-com.
Best friends.
They-
A 1. Alphonse was first of all, he fucking left him to like die at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
And second, he didn't
was
play an
brilliant.
integral part in getting the treasure.
There was also no backstory as to why he had to be Ukrainian.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody
Why
was ever
couldn't he have
like,
been Scottish?
Or just even anything. Like, they could have cast anybody.
Well, he
And-
is Scottish, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
in
what I'm
real
saying.
life.
He could have just like worked less
Yeah.
hard and kept his own accent. It would have
Right.
had the same
Yeah.
effect. Just a foreign guy.
I'm evening it out because I would give the gay chefs a 2 and I would give Alphonse a 0. So I'm going to give it a 1.
Okay.
I think you know what? I don't know. Just give me a 1.
Yeah, one's a good.
Yeah, 1. Yeah, because like Gary and Eddie or Ed or whatever could have been more developed, but I just didn't care.
No, who
There
cares?
wasn't, there was, besides the initial, like, oh, these are going to be fun characters, they weren't.
They
They
weren't.
weren't. Yeah.
Because they just, like,
1.
eh,
They're just
not
like,
good.
we're chopping onions.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
chopping the whole time.
I thought they were going
We
to have
find him
banter,
sexy.
and
Oh
be
yeah, there's
nice
the
and
one
charming.
scene. You're right.
Yeah.
Where they were like, he's hot. Oh, his raw sexuality.
Oh, we both do him at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gary.
Gary, come on.
Next up, we had the romance.
0.
0. Yeah.
0.
0.
0.
There was a lot of rescuing. Is that romantic?
That's
It
up
could.
to you.
It can be.
in the
1.
13th century, yes.
It can be sometimes.
1.
It wasn't here. All right, 1. Good.
Yeah.
So that one gets a 1.
You know what? The spirit of adventure is romantic.
I'll take it.
Okay,
Oh,
that's not a bad thought.
That's fair.
romantic.
0.5 for me.
0.5 for me, too, actually.
I still say
I
0.
sold you guys. I sold you guys.
And comedy. How are we feeling?
I laughed twice. And it was one of these laughs.
Yeah.
I think I laughed like once like that.
Yeah, like
yeah.
0.5.
0.5 for me, too.
All the things they wanted to be funny were wild.
Yes.
Just like, wow, Matthew McConaughey
Yeah.
bleeding
Or
somewhere.
even if they made like what they thought was a clever line, there was still like weirdly 10 seconds of everyone else mugging afterwards in complete silence.
And mumbling lines. Like, there was...
Yeah.
The dialogue wasn't, like, sharp already, but it got really fumbled in a lot of the delivery. You didn't know what they were saying.
Mhm.
So my comm is a 0.5. The 0.5 is for effort of what they believed might have been comedy.
Okay, that's kind
They
of you.
tried to write a comedy, so for that they get 0.5.
0.5.
I would say 0.5 as well.
All 0.5s?
Yeah.
All right.
This is gonna be low, 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 low.
And finally, because it's the McConaughssaince, the McConaughey factor.
This, Lindsay,
This will save it
is
some points, maybe.
It certainly will.
this is how Matthew McConaughey was Matthew McConaughey. Could anyone else have played this role? If no one else could have played this role, that's a 5. If anyone else could have played this role, a 0. Somewhere between. How McConaughey was he? Did you get your bang for your buck from the McConaughey?
Kate Hudson certainly did, am I right? She was pregnant at the end of the film.
Yes. Oh, before we do that, yes, I said pregnant at the end of the film because he came in her in the church, and did they have that baby from the church sex?
I hope so.
I bet they did.
That's an
That was
adventure
the
baby.
question. Yeah.
Adventure baby. Probably gonna be named like Wave or something.
Maverick. Wave. I like Wave. I like Wave.
Maverick.
They're both bad. Anyway.
I think, okay, how McConaughey was McConaughey. I think you did get your bang for your buck. I do. I think you did. I'm trying to think. I mean, he had his mouth hanging open about 90% of the fucking movie, but like he was making the face that he always makes, and that like, hey guys, what over here, and then like that. So I think it was. I guess not the most McConaughey, but I give it a 4.
A 4.
4. I'd say a 4.
How about you, Eddie? I need time to think on it.
I'm going to give it a 5 because I'm trying to think who else could play this role. And whether or not I can picture anyone else, I don't really want to picture anyone else. So just in that no one else can play this role, I'm going to give it a 5.
Now, I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Halfway.
We're halfway
Because
there.
I think he was pretty solid. I think like if you take the adventure out of it and sort of apply that ambition and like luck and sort of like low effort but also like high effort to other roles, it still fits in that. That's who he always is. Like he's a slacker, but he's also got big dreams and he does big things.
Right. Grand gestures.
Yeah, and I felt like it was
payoff.
basically just mapped out to a different scenario in this one, so it worked well. But 3.5, I actually do think that other people could have played the role.
But do you have people in mind?
So I have someone in mind, which is the wrong answer, but I'm going to say it
Is
anyway.
it Jay Baruchel?
It's not, but
Okay.
it's close. It's Andy Samberg.
Oh, that would be a
You
much
know what?
funnier movie.
I could picture that, but it would be a different
It'd be a
tone
different-
of a
yeah.
movie. Like almost a Hot Rod
Yeah.
level of a
So that's why it's the wrong answer, because it's like I can see it, but it's wrong. So I'm trying to think. I have an
Chris
answer. I
Pratt?
just can't think who it is.
Chris Pratt, it would be a
Maybe?
better
Chris
movie.
Pratt can maybe do this.
It would be
yeah.
more of an
It would be a
adventure
better
movie.
film.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought of like Joel McHale.
Or honestly, Chris Hemsworth, I think could have done
Ugh.
this.
Chris
He'd be so
Hemsworth,
great.
yeah.
Like,
So
I
I
think,
agree. Yeah, I'm gonna do 3.5 with you too because there were some real real McConaughey moments, but I don't know. I feel like it was slightly less like
Then knock me down to
smarmy
a-
than I wanted.
Knock me down to a 4. You've convinced me.
all right.
Matthew McConaughey's character's first name
Is Ben?
is Ben.
They did not say that.
We
at
did not know
all.
that at all.
All right. So
Oh, and at the very end of the movie, while you're calculating, is that
Go
okay?
talk.
While Zach's calculating, the very like last lines of the movie were they were like crashed in the water and oh they're both alive, so exciting, and he pops out of the water and he's like, I love you, I want to be with you, I've learned so much, will you marry me again? And she's like, no, you haven't learned anything, but yes, I will marry you. I'm like, okay,
So she's accepting him for who he is.
I guess,
But he's a trash boat, and that's why she divorced him.
Maybe, yeah.
yeah, there weren't enough reasons
she'll
as to
lighten
like
up a
why
little
they
bit.
ended it. She was just like, he has no money. I'm like, you guys were in this together up until a point, so why did you not like
That's
him?
true. And now that 8-year thing that you've been searching for is over. Now what?
True.
On
Oh,
to the
yeah.
on to the next.
What are they going to hunt for now?
Thing.
Well, we'll find something.
all right, we've added up the scores, and this film gets
Da-la-la-la-la-la.
6.875 concussions out of 25, or 27.5% of a concussion.
Yes.
Meaning out of
Or-
100.
Quarter of a concussion.
Or
2.7 concussions out of 10 possible concussions.
yep.
Yep.
We still haven't locked in our new rating system. It's all bananas anyway.
It's okay. It's the McConaughssaince.
So that was our review of Fool's Gold. As always, we'd love any feedback, so feel free to reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram at MeetCuteCast, or reach out to themeetcutecast@gmail.com. Lindsay, you're a treat.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being
was it
here.
as bad as you remembered or worse?
I didn't remember anything about it.
Uh-huh.
I do remember after the movie, you and I were like, that was awful. But like, I don't. But this was just like atrocious. But it was a fun time.
So let's say it again. That was awful.
It was awful.
Bye, guys.
Lindsay, do you want the people anything you
Oh.
want the people to know? Anything you want to plug?
Do I want to
Any,
plug anything?
if you have nothing to plug, any just life philosophies.
Anything you want to share? This is your
Listen,
time.
okay.
What have you done?
Listen, yes, quality of life is the most important thing. If you don't like your job, find another one. If you don't like your friends, make new ones. If you don't like who you're in a relationship with, break up with them. The quality of your life is more important than what you're afraid other people are going to think about you.
That is so nice.
Thank you.
Wow.
She's plugging self-respect.
Self-respect yourself.
At self-respect.
Add self-respect.
No.
I don't have a Twitter.
This
I don't
is
have
not
an
on the
Instagram.
internet.
So you can't find me.
You can't
Yeah.
tweet this.
You
it's
literally-
real.
I have a Facebook, and that's it.
And we will not give it to you.
Well, I mean, you could search Lindsay Rose, see if you find me.
Oh.
But yeah, no Twitter, no Instagram. I have a Tumblr from like 9 years ago.
That's honestly, that sounds like a fucking dream. I'm
That's
like,
up that
I'm
Tumblr.
so sick of all of it.
Just all sick of social
It's
media.
so bad. On that note, Lindsay, thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week with another episode of the McConaughssaince. For the Meet Cute, I'm Zach.
I'm Haley.
I'm Edwards.
Boat.
Boat. That was all right. The style of boats. Okay, we gotta go.
Okay.